It's been 10 years, and in that time, we've traveled a journey with twists and turns no one saw coming and some that we did. Some of you know parts of our story, but none of you know all of it. As we celebrate 10 years, we want to take you with us from the beginning. It's too long for one episode, so make sure you hit the bell and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. What does it mean to say yes to something you don't fully understand? To feel something stirring deep in your chest and follow it halfway across the world? To be completely unsure of what you're doing and do it anyway? We didn't come to Kenya with a master plan. There was no polished mission statement or carefully laid out agenda. Just a thread pulling at the edges of our hearts, a whisper that said, go. One trip at a time, one experience, one idea. What if we could do something good? 10 years ago, we were just people. Business owners, parents, travelers, dreamers. Some of us had never left the country. Most of us had never been to Africa. But something kept showing up. A very persistent question we couldn't shake. Do you want to go to Kenya? Though, if we're being honest, it might have been that Heidi, the founder, kept asking that whenever she saw you. Usually with a smile that said, you're already going. You just don't know it yet. And eventually, something in us said yes. So we followed the nudge. We booked the flights. We packed the bags. We hugged our kids a little tighter, and we stepped into the unknown. We didn't all come at once. At first, it was just one woman with a vision. Heidi had stepped into the unknown with bravery and resilience, then invited others to join her. We thought we were going to help, to give, to serve, maybe even to change lives. And we did. But what we didn't realize is it was our own lives that would be changed first. Kenya has a way of getting into your heart and soul. It rearranges your priorities. It shakes something loose inside of you. The first time we stood in the red soil of Kenya, it was humbling. The beauty, the silence, the space to think and breathe differently, the smiles of people who had seen more than we could imagine and still had a smile to spare. We didn't speak the language, we didn't fully understand the culture, and honestly, we didn't know what we were doing. In the beginning, it was multiple years of figuring things out as you go. Failures and lessons learned happened more times than you have fingers and toes to count on, but we kept going. But something finally clicked. A spark, a shift. The thread had been pulled, and we couldn't go back. We met people who had every reason to give up and chose joy instead. They welcomed us with open arms, laughed with us, walked with us, taught us, sometimes with words, but mostly by example. The mamas, the children, the elders, they weren't statistics or charity cases. They were family. And somewhere in the space between a shared cup of tea and a gifted chicken that we may have had for dinner, we realized this wasn't about saving anyone. It was about staying, about building something together. There's a moment that lives in the soul when you're visiting a family or a community, surrounded by mamas and families, laughter rising into the air, and someone looks at you and gives you a gift. A name, a blessing, a chicken, something small and sacred, a gesture that tells you, you belong now. And that's when it shifts. The idea of service becomes something different. It becomes reciprocity, community, legacy. We tried things. Oh, we tried so many things. Some worked, some didn't. We gave cows that died a few months later, planted gardens that didn't grow because the termites ate the wood or goats got to them first. We launched ideas with enthusiasm and very little logistical planning. But we also learned. We built garden towers in fenced areas protected from termites and goats. We helped young men and women go to school and watched them become leaders in their communities. We showed up for mamas when their families needed food, even during COVID, when daughters needed safe spaces or training centers for learning. And somehow in the trying, the failing, and the trying again, we became part of something so much bigger than ourselves. When you show up with a willing heart and open hands, there's no such thing as failure. Only feedback, only growth. One night, different for each of us, it hit us. This wasn't just a trip. It wasn't even just a project. It was a movement, a purpose, a new way of walking in the world. We weren't just visitors anymore. We'd been invited to stay, not as a tourist just here for safari. And by the way, we love safari, but as kin, And we said yes, again and again and again. That was the beginning. One thread, one yes, one tiny ripple in a sea of need. 10 years later, that thread has woven thousands of lives together across continents, across cultures, across hearts. What started with one idea has become a global family. We are 100 Humanitarians International. And this is the story of what happens when you say yes to something bigger than yourself.